Right, come on. We've all played it at school or on the beach. It's one of the biggest participation sports in the world. And even if you won't admit it, we know that you know that we know that irrespective of your interest in this sport, you've definitely watched certain versions of it at the Olympics. Do not kid yourselves. Anyway, it's time to learn about it and lean into it. Yes, it does have a World Championships. And yes, it is popular. Ladies and gentlemen, the volleyball episode is finally here, and this is the Sporting Almanac podcast. It's here.
Finally.
Delayed.
I'm not ill anymore.
No, not ill. Delayed and overdue, but we're making up for lost time.
Apologies to all the volleyball fans out there. It's your episode finally. Let's see how we do. As we said many times over the past few weeks, it is not a sport we do much in the UK, certainly not outside of a recreational level. Nevertheless, about the 5th most popular sport on the planet. Seemed rude not to.
Yeah, can't allow it to slip by us. We might have missed the Women's World Championships.
Absolutely not.
Which we will talk about, but the Men's World Championships are still to come. So there is utility in addressing volleyball and giving it the time it deserves.
Indeed. And it gives us a chance to do something we promised we wouldn't do in the very first episode, and that is to retrospectively analyse something that's already happened.
Yes.
That being the women's tournament.
Indeed. And by analyse, you mean comment on in very generic terms, because we have absolutely no expertise in this sport whatsoever.
It's what we do best, Ben. It's what we do best.
It's never stopped us before, has it? So,
and it never will.
But before we dive right into the volleyball, 304.
304 for 2. South Africa won the toss and chose to bowl.
Oh dear. That is a very cryptic reference to England posting an Everest of a score in T20 cricket.
Yes, the highest score between two major test-playing nations. Or I think the highest score between two test-playing nations, full stop, actually. So, yeah, very impressive.
Yeah, and absolutely insane. Very funny statistics if you were to deconstruct that total. But that is not what we're here to do. So we won't.
Indeed. Here we are talking about volleyball. So, where do we start?
A how-to volleyball. How-to volleyball. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, we're approaching this podcast sort of, we are two fairly regular Englishmen, albeit with sort of a little bit of background in sport. Obviously, I'm a coach and you're a lawyer who's dabbled a bit in sporting matters. But other than that, we're really just two lay people who are really big sports enthusiasts. And we know a little about a lot of sports. But I would say volleyball, I don't even really know a little bit about it. I know the rules. I know, well, I thought I knew the rules. As I'm about to go through in the how to volleyball, I bet you don't know the rules either. I bet there's a lot of British people listening at home who think, oh, I know, you just hit it 3 times and get it over the net.
Nah, mate,
it's very complicated.
You're preaching to the choir. I don't know anything about the rules. I've played this game and I don't know the rules. This is all learning for me. So I'm looking forward to how to volleyball, because then I can be a stickler next time I play it and, call out people's cheating.
Indeed, yeah. I kind of wish I played it, really, because I think I'd be all right at it. Because I'm generally okay with my hands. I'm obviously quite tall, which helps. Yeah,
helps a lot.
It's just I don't remember us ever having the opportunity to play it at school.
No,
it isn't a thing really in the United Kingdom. Not a major thing anyway.
I think I've played it in like PE perhaps, but not routinely.
No, I know.
And I've definitely played it on the beach. But yeah, let's hear it. How do you volleyball?
Yeah, I was just saying, I remember having European friends at school or Asian friends at school who played it and loved it, but just not really an option. Anyway, how to volleyball. Would you like to know how to volleyball, Ben?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm on tenterhooks.
Well, here we go. So, how to volleyball. So, volleyball looks simple. Just hit the ball over the net. But there's a lot going on. 6 players aside, 3 at the net, 3 at the back. The aim, win rallies by getting the ball to touch the floor on the other side. Or by forcing the other team to mess up. You get 3 touches, usually a pass, a set, and a spike. First touch is a pass to control the serve or attack. Second is a set, where the setter pops the ball up for the big players to attack. Third is the attack, the big hit that tries to score the point. Now, rotations. Every time you win serve off the other team, your players shuffle clockwise around the court. That way, everyone takes turns serving. But once the serve is hit, players dash into their real jobs: setter, hitter, blocker, libero. These specialist roles, they matter. Setters run the attack. They decide who gets the ball. Outside hitter is a workhorse, scoring from the left. Middle blocker is the tall wall in the middle. And opposite hitter is the right side scorer. Libero wears a different shirt colour, plays only in the back row, usually never serves, and is basically a defensive wizard, and is probably a foot shorter than everyone as well. Scoring is a rally point system. Every rally is a point, whether you served or not. Matches are best of 5 sets. First to 25 point wins a set, except the 5th, which goes to 15. You have to win these sets by 2 points. Serving is how every rally starts. Players can serve underarm or overarm, but at higher levels it's jump serves, bullets from the back line, overarm. The serve is an immediate chance to score. At the net, blocking is your first line of defence, then back row players digging out the ball to keep it alive. It's all about teamwork. No one can carry a match on their own. Communication is constant, calling for the ball, tracking hitters, setting plays. The flow of a rally is fast. Pass, set, spike, block, dig, repeat. Ball can cross the net at insane speeds. Pros hit it over 70 miles an hour. And rallies often turn into wild scrambles, with players diving across the floor just to keep the ball alive. So, serve, pass, set, spike, defend, rotate, repeat. That is volleyball.
That was really good. The only thing I was going to add was, I say add, I wasn't going to add it. I just had the thought as you were talking about it. There were rules about the net, right? So you're not allowed to touch the net, and I don't think you're allowed to penetrate, for want for a better phrase, underneath it.
No, I believe you're correct. That is a terrible way of putting it, but I believe you're correct. That might actually be the correct terminology.
I think it is. I don't think I came up with that. I'm sure I read it, but if I didn't, then
that's the same in tennis, though. You can't touch the net in tennis either.
No, exactly.
You can't touch the table in table tennis.
Yes, and so I think that's the rule, and I don't think. Oh, I mean, I say I don't think. I know you can't catch it, right?
No, you definitely can't catch it.
It's like a palming of the ball, essentially.
You can use your fists or you can use your palms.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, if you're passing, so if the ball's been hit over the net and you're keeping it in play or passing it to a setter to set up, you tend to use the underarms of your fists. If you're setting, as in popping the ball up, ready for someone to spike, you use sort of the inside of your hands, like your fingertips, basically. Sort of like delicately put. That's probably the longest you're in contact with the ball, is when you're setting. Bit of sustained contact as you pop it up to get control over it. And then, obviously, the spike is you just hit it as hard as you can with a closed fist, as high as you can. And the height, certainly the men especially, the taller men can reach is mega in terms of their height and their jump reach.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Mad. It is definitely a sport for tall people. I mean,
it is. Yeah, I think
the net is at 7'11". The top of it.
That's fairly high.
2 meters 43 in the men's competition, 7'11", and
even taller than me.
Yeah, in the women's competition, the top of the net is not that much shorter. It's 2 meters 24 or 7'4".
Jeez.
So yeah, obviously juniors and vets and the like are given a slightly easier ride. You can obviously adjust the net height, but like that, professional sport wise, it's you got to be tall to play this game.
Yeah, with one exception. That exception being the libero role, which is a role introduced relatively recently compared to the game. 1998 was the first time the libero role was added. So as I mentioned in the how-to, every time you win the ball back, so basically whoever won the last point serves. When you win the ball back off your opponent, so when your opponent serves but you win the point, your team rotates around. So you basically end up with players out of position. If there wasn't the libero role, you'd need everyone in your team to be tall because they'd all have to take a turn playing by the net. The libero role basically can go where they want, so they stay in the backcourt, and they're basically your nimble defensive wizard, the guy who you smack a spike at them as hard as they can. Anyone else would struggle to get to the ground to keep it in, but they are all over the shop, getting a fist to it, getting it up in the air. saving the point. And they are often, in fact, they're almost always the smallest guy on the team. They can be literally a good foot shorter, if not more, than their teammates. It's a really cool rule, actually.
Yeah, no, I came across the libero role, and well, firstly, I like the name, which is very similar to sort of a role that you find in association football.
Indeed. It's slightly less fashionable than it used to be, but yeah.
Yeah. And I do think it's really cool that essentially they're the person that's diving around trying to not block, but prevent spikes from hitting the floor.
Yeah.
And so they're often like pancaking and stuff, which I think is a real term, where you put your hands like flat on the ground and the ball bounces off your arms or your hands back up into the air for your teammates to get it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
a lot easier to get down to when you're 5'7" rather than 6'9".
Yeah, for sure. And on that point as well, like, you're saying about the fact that the libero sort of not messes up, but allows a degree of flexibility in the positioning. Like all sports, you would think that, you could be able to keep these things relatively simple, but it just gets so highly technical, and there's loads of technical infringements in volleyball in relation to, obviously, like you say, positions, being in the wrong place at the time of the serve or not rotating or what have you. There's rules in respect of like lines and which lines you have to be behind or in front of at the service. And there's obviously rules in relation to timing as well, like how quickly you have to serve and this, that and the other. So yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game.
Yeah, there's restrictions over the libero role as well. They can't set in the same way that other players can. I think if they set in the attacking zone, you can't attack until the ball's below the net or something. So basically, you can't spike it. Anyway,
wow.
I'm sure there's people listening to this who know volleyball who think these guys have no idea what they're talking about. But there you go. Hopefully, we've educated some people with a similar level of knowledge to us there.
Yeah, and the line is in. That ball was on the line. Because it's not always in. In rugby, for example, the line is out, but the line is yours as the attacker, and that sort of just makes the court, which is also very big and square, we should add, that tiny little bit bigger because the line is on your side.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, that's an intro to volleyball. Shall we talk about where it came from? Because I really like this origin story.
Well, I'll let you take the reins then for the origin story, because I know only one thing about it. Which will have confused people listening to the intro a little bit, but you're going to enlighten them exactly why we played that song over the introduction piece. Ben, take it away.
Yes. Okay. So, once upon a time, there was a chap called William G. Morgan, and he was a physical education director in Holyoke in Massachusetts, working for an institution known as the YMCA. And he created this game in 1895, YMCA being the Young Men's Christian Association, which was coincidentally created in London, of all places, which I didn't know.
I did not know that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's very random, isn't it? We're not normally the centre for religious institution, but nonetheless.
No, well, not certainly any religious institutions less than 200 or 300 years old. Yeah, no, it seemed like a very American thing to me, but there you go. Good to know.
Created in London in 1844, it is now more reputably known as a worldwide youth organisation. I think it's got a presence in 120 countries or something mad. And it was, and this is why this is all kind of funny, founded on principles of muscular Christianity, which is characterised by a belief in patriotic duty, discipline, self-sacrifice, masculinity, and the moral and physical beauty of athleticism. So all the quintessential ingredients of volleyball, basically. Very weird.
Indeed. Yeah. Now you put it that way, it actually does sound a bit more classically English Victorian.
Yeah. The Victorian angle was going to appear somewhere, because basically all sport came from the Victorians. The organisation's stated aim, this is the YMCA, is to put Christian values into practice by developing healthy body, mind and spirit. So Mr. William G. Morgan thought, I know what will develop a healthy body, mind and spirit. It will be the game of volleyball. And this is where it gets really fun, because this is the YMCA's influence on sport doesn't stop there. He, as in Morgan, was a one-time student of the inventor of basketball, Mr. James Naismith, who was studying
Oh,
at
wow.
who was studying at the YMCA when he invented basketball. And that sort of interaction and the development of that game seemingly inspired Morgan, who obviously then went on to invent volleyball for his clients at the YMCA, most of whom were middle-aged businessmen for whom basically the physical demands of basketball were too great. And you can see the similarities when you draw that parallel, when you understand that link. Basketball and volleyball are actually not that dissimilar.
No, they're not, and there's a big overlap between them in the United States, particularly because they use the same courts, they use the same surface. They play on indoor hard courts. Volleyball, just like in basketball, and basketball tends to be largely a male-dominated game, although obviously with a strong female minority, which is growing all the time. Whereas volleyball tends to be a female-dominant game, particularly in the United States, relatively speaking. In fact, I think it's nearly 80% of volleyball players worldwide. I might be wrong in that, but I've heard that before.
What,
I think that
female?
accounts. Yeah, a female, and I think that accounts for. It's something ridiculous, like close to 1 billion players, or close to 1 billion people on the planet are volleyball players, and like 80% of them are female, which is just insane. It's an incredibly popular sport across the world. Yeah. Obviously, not all of them might be playing now, but that's how many have played volleyball at some point in their lives, be it at school, be it at college, be it professionally, obviously, be it recreationally. It's an astonishingly popular game. And again, just to reiterate, crazy. And not one which is popular in the United Kingdom, which is rare because we love all sports.
Yes, we do.
And again, not that it isn't played in the United Kingdom, it's just not, relatively speaking, it's not that popular.
Yeah, it's very popular on continental Europe and in Asia. And it's very popular, obviously,
massively
in North America as well. I mean, do you want to know something else? Just because you might think that's where the YMCA's involvement stops, Jack, when it comes to sporting prowess. But can I just tell you one more little fact about the origins of sport and the YMCA before we revert back to volleyball? So
I'll apologise for my naivety, and you can tell me some more.
No. Because we're obviously going to divert back to volleyball, but this is it's just so weird that I can't not mention it. So bizarrely, it's not just two sports that can thank the YMCA for their emergence, because in 1930, Juan Carlos Seriani, also from the YMCA, but this time of Montevideo in Uruguay, invented the sport of futsal, an indoor version of football.
Fantastic.
As you know, and created in a synthesis of the rules of 3 other indoor sports, which were handball, basketball, also of the YMCA, and water polo. Isn't that weird?
That's crazy. That's really fun, though.
Yeah. So
trusty Uruguayan as well. Fantastic.
Yeah, and it was probably also the reason why South Americans, or it's certainly contributory to why South Americans are so damn good at football, because futsal is a smaller ball, which hones the skills.
Yeah, small and heavy. You can't head it. You can't chest it even. They are not recommended to head the ball. It will give you a very sore head the next day. I know that from experience.
So yeah, YMCA in sport. Don't mess with it. I'm not sure there is actually another institution with that kind of track record.
No, it's good pedigree, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fair play to them. Not all homoeroticism and 1970s disco.
I was just about to say. I mean, it's ironic because of, what the YMCA originally stood for, given that it became subject to the 1978 song by the Village People, which you have already referenced. Number 1 in 15 countries.
Given the original aims of the YMCA was related to the celebrating the physical form of men, perhaps it's not so surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think actually the YMCA had the official YMCA had a real issue with the song YMCA when it came out, and then they realised it was just actually incredibly good publicity, and they chilled out. So smart in the end.
I can imagine there's a lot of people in the world today who have only heard the letters YMCA used in that order because of that song. So there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah, exactly. But back to volleyball. It spread very quickly.
Swiftly back to volleyball.
Yeah, spread very quickly because it's simple, essentially. And because the YMCA created it and it was obviously spread and promoted by it. I think there was this really weird suggestion, and I don't know how true this is, but I hope it's true, that it got to the continent of Europe because 16,000 balls were distributed with the American Expeditionary Force and their troops, who
in the First World War.
Yeah, who were then training amongst their allies, and many of the members of the American Expeditionary Force were YMCA instructors. So they were given 16,000 balls to take over to Europe, and they went and played volleyball. Weird.
That's amazing. I mean, I have a statistic here, which was in 1916, which would have been 1 or 2 years before that, that there was 200,000 active players in the United States by that point. So it was a sport that grew very quickly. And it was also the YMCA persuaded the NCAA, which is the College Sport Association in America, to adopt it and to publish official rules at around that time, which obviously helped accelerate the growth in colleges and foster competition between them. So yeah, I guess that actually probably makes sense.
That does make sense. Collegiate system, baby, as we've said.
Yeah, a lot of those people, a lot of the people with influence coming over will be the officers of that expeditionary force, and a lot of those officers will have been recruited from either directly from universities, but under the age of 22, or as university graduates, so will have potentially played volleyball at college. So yeah, I can believe
it's weird, isn't it? And then Canada was the first country to adopt it outside of America, but it spread very quickly across Europe, as mentioned before. With I think the epicenter being France. That would make sense given the time.
Yeah. And their obsession with sport.
Yeah, they do have a penchant as well. Morgan
appropriate.
Morgan initially named the sport Mintonette or Mintonet. I don't quite know how you pronounce it.
Mintonet, yeah.
And the rules were
an E at the end.
Very different to how they currently are. Unlimited players, unlimited touches. There were 3 primary rules, which was 2 serves, hit the ball into the ground and your opponent's after score, foul if you hit the net, or drop the ball on your own side. And that was kind of it. Rules developed from there.
Similar to tennis, really. Because tennis only really had, 6 laws initially. And obviously got more complex from there.
Did not know that.
Simple encourages the game to spread. So
it is a good thing. And the rules did develop from there. 3-touch rule was adopted, which obviously is maintained. Number of points needed to win was reduced from 21 to 15 by 1919. Stayed like that until 1999, and then went back up to 25 points.
Well, when it went back up to 25 points in 1999, they changed the rule to introduce rally points. So instead of you could only score a point on your serve, you could then score a point on your opponent's serve as well. So prior to 99, it was you could only score a point on your serve, but the sets were shorter as a result because you'd have a lot of dead points there. If you served but your opponent won the point, they'd get the serve, but they wouldn't win a point. So you
it's like playing to serve every time. Really, in order to win, like you have to. Yeah. The team that didn't serve is always playing to serve until that rule is changed.
Yes, essentially.
Yeah. But yeah, now I mean that's a very well timed intervention, mate. Because that was the context I was going to provide, but you've done it.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize.
Jumping all over you.
No, it's a very timely intervention. 6-a-side game now, as you've already said. Standard competitive volleyball matches played in a best of 5 sets format. Typically goes on for about 90 minutes, same length as an association football game. Yeah, and can basically just continues until the first team hits 25 points, and you've got to win by a 2-point margin, I think, to get the set.
Yeah.
Best of 5 sets that go to the 5th are usually then only played to 15 points, though, in the 5th.
Correct.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the history, and that's how you get to how-to volleyball, which you've already explained, so kind of fun.
So we're doing this in a weird order.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it was important to lay the groundwork of how to volleyball first before we spoke about where it came from.
Yeah.
But the YMCA, front and centre.
There you go. of many sports. Honestly, that's the biggest takeaway from today. I did not know any of that.
I just think there's a very unique origin story. There are not many sports that have that kind of background, and there's not, as you said, not many institutions with that kind of pedigree.
It's the same sort of culture, really, that, I mean, as we've mentioned many times before, where almost every sport comes from is the British public school system, and that was based very much on this sort of Christian sporting sort of ideology of, make yourself perfect unto God by being physically fit and challenge yourself with competition and everything like that. And, say what you want about the reasoning for it, but certainly help produce a lot of good sport.
Yeah, I mean, like,
So in that sense, it's not that surprising, really.
it's like all these things, though, isn't it? Like societal development is iterative, and people love to be like, "Oh, that was a bad thing. That was a good thing," and it's like, well, the reality is that most things have good and bad things, and you take the good out of of anything, and you retain it, and you try your very best to discard the bad, and no one can say that the Victorians and religious ideology haven't given people motive to do well at sport, because they have.
On many occasions.
Yeah. And that's
still do.
That's not a controversial thing to say. So
not the Victorians, obviously.
Yeah, the Victorians, they've had their time. They've had their day in the sun.
Move on, guys. It's over.
Nobody listens to techno. That's some Moby criticism from Eminem. Weird. Strange tangents. What was I going to say? I was going to tell you, Jack, that it's been part of the official program of the Summer Olympic Games since Tokyo 1964, but beach volleyball was only introduced to the program in Atlanta 1996, which course. I was surprised by how recent that was. There's obviously an adapted version that's also played in the Paralympic Games, which is sitting volleyball, and I think you were going to tell us, or you wanted to tell us, where beach volleyball came from, because that's a very popular version of this sport. Can't think why. Yeah,
so beach volley, unfortunately it's changing now and becoming more legitimised by changes in clothing and outfitting and more options available to women players, because obviously this will be, some people will be disappointed by that, but as sports fans, I think we'll agree the most important thing for female players is to be comfortable and confident in what they're wearing.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say on that.
I don't think that's much to ask, you know.
Anyway,
if you want to play in a bikini, go ahead, but if you also don't want to play in a bikini, you're playing sport, so just play your sport and be good at it.
Yeah, playing what you're comfortable in.
Yeah.
And
so is that again
going to trap too much sand?
People can't be offended by that, Jack. That's just weird. Anyway,
indeed.
Beach volleyball.
So beach volleyball, yeah. So basically, volleyball became popular, and people like beaches, so people started playing volleyball on beaches. It genuinely is as simple as that to start with. It's families going and playing volleyball on beaches. It started off in Hawaii, and then California as well, as you'd imagine. The first two-man beach volleyball game played in Santa Monica, again, as you probably imagine. The sport later spread to France, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Latvia as well, became popular. The first women's beach volleyball tournament was held in Santa Monica in the 1930s. First official two-man tournament was in California in 1947. And again, similar to what you said, it was US soldiers stationed in Europe during and after the Second World War, which helped popularise the sport as well in Europe. So very, very similar all around.
So as we said, when good and bad things come out of everything, it's worth the world wars for volleyball.
If you like volleyball enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you say, 1996 is when it joined the Olympics. It had exploded in popularity, particularly in one country as well in the 1980s, where it is very closely associated, and that is Brazil, Rio de Janeiro specifically, where it became very popular in the early 1980s. Huge crowds attended international exhibition matches in Rio in the mid-80s, which helped sort of gain the momentum, which eventually led to it becoming a legitimised Olympic sport. IOC recognised it in 1994, and it made its first appearance at Atlanta in 1996. And the first official World Championships in beach volleyball, to link it to today, was 1997, held in Los Angeles at UCLA.
Cool. I did not know that.
And immediately that tournament had equal prize money for men and women as well.
Well, that makes sense.
Which is probably, to be fair, for many reasons, the women's game is probably more popular. Yeah. But nevertheless, giving the men equal money nevertheless.
Yeah, so, well, that's a nice thing. And the right thing, if it can be achieved. We'll do more on beach volleyball when we get to the Olympics, I think.
We will. We're going to have a lot to do at the Olympics, but there's also the World Championships as well. So
yes, yeah, which we will factor in at some stage. But yeah, beach volleyball is a sport in its own right. Whilst it's linked to its sibling sport of indoor volleyball, it is a slightly different sport, albeit
Indeed. Smaller courts, obviously only
less
two players.
people,
Sand everywhere.
So,
what's next?
Shall we talk about the Women's World Championships, since it has come and gone?
I think that's probably best to. As I will apologise again. We had, of course, planned to do this episode in advance, or I think it would have been just at the start of the tournament, similar to what we've done to the men's tournament now. Might have missed the first couple of games, but yes, apologies. I got sick. I am better now.
You are, and we are delighted you are better.
I only had a stomach bug. You make it sound like I had something far worse.
It sounded worse, to be fair, but we won't go there.
Well, it wasn't pleasant.
So, historically dominated by the Soviet Union and Russia, who have won 7 titles, the women's world championships. Japan and Cuba are the next 2 most successful sides. They have 3 each. And then you have Italy and Serbia, and the only other side to have won outside of them is the United States of America. Brazil, who you just mentioned, and we're talking about indoor volleyball here. So even though beach volleyball heavily popularized there in the 90s, Brazil's indoor volleyball team is also very good, but they have made the final 4 times and not won a title yet, which is a bit
heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking.
I like Brazil. Everyone likes Brazil.
Yeah, they're a hard country not to like, actually. I don't know what it is about them.
Sporting-wise, certainly.
They have a charm about them, and they play the game
because they love it. It's passion. Yeah,
and they play it in a beautiful way normally.
Yoga Bonito,
for those who are familiar with the Nike advert. The other countries to have made a final without winning: Poland, Peru, Romania, and Turkey. Both North and South Korea, which I find weird, has made a semi-final.
Fair play.
The former Czechoslovakia have also made a semi-final, and so has the former Serbia and Montenegro. Obviously, Serbia have got 2 titles as Serbia.
Surprised, actually, Czechoslovakia have only made a semi, because they're very good in the men's side. And they certainly won at least one in the early days.
Yeah. We'll come to the men, actually, because we're going to preview them, aren't we? But they, you're right, they're not rubbish. Do you want to know where we stood going into this tournament?
Are we even ranked? Do we even play it?
So we play it. Of the home nations, England and Wales both have teams, but are not ranked, which shows how bad we are. And then Scotland are ranked. Scotland are ranked 44th in the world. And Ireland are ranked 54th in the world. So neither qualified. But, climbing the ladder, slow and steady. Yeah, so that brings us to the main tournament that has come and gone, as we say. Hosted by Thailand for the first time. 21st edition of this tournament. Do you want to break the news as to who won?
Do I want to break the news? Italia.
Yeah. Picking up their 2nd title.
Italy, indeed.
Yeah. Defeating who in the final?
4th title. No, sorry.
2nd.
Ignore me.
Yeah,
2nd title. The men have won 4.
Yes, indeed. Do you know who they beat?
Yes. But I've forgotten.
They beat Turkey.
Turkey, yeah.
Yeah. And
on the tip of my tongue.
Italy were ranked 1 in the world going into it, so it's no surprise that they did in fact reign victorious. Turkey ranked 3, so kind of true to form. Brazil picked up the bronze medal. They were they defeated Japan, I should say, in the 3rd, 4th playoff. Japan arguably slightly overachieved their ranking of 5th, but Brazil were ranked 2nd, so they didn't underachieve because they played Italy in the semis. Italy did it the hard way.
Fair enough.
They definitely did it the hard way. They beat Poland, ranked 4 in the world in the quarterfinal. Brazil ranked 2 in the world in the semi-final, and Turkey ranked 3 in the world in the final. So they did okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And do you know how the hosts Thailand got on?
I do not. How did they get on?
They got out of their group, so well done to them.
Well done.
Yeah, but they were beaten in the round of 16 by Japan, who would ultimately, as I say, come 4th. So no shame there. I don't think Thailand were ranked particularly highly. Obviously, you qualify automatically if you are the hosts.
Yeah, did well then.
Did you know this about the World Championships, which I think is really, really fun and should be done in every tournament of this kind if it's possible? They rank everyone into a position based on their aggregated scores and their progress through the rounds.
Yeah, that's good. You technically can do that in the Football World Cup and in other World Cups as well. They just don't.
Yeah, and I don't know
They don't
why.
care.
Like,
No, I like it. It's a good idea.
I think it's good because it also sort of incentivizes you if you build in some sort of like qualification system or something like that to not lose badly.
Yeah.
And so, for example, America came 5th, but went out in the quarters. And then obviously there was a ranking system.
So they had the best group stage of all the quarterfinalists, all the beaten quarterfinalists.
Yes, and then I think they still use your aggregated scores in the knockout rounds as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't quite know the equation, but it is. I think it's a thing that should be explored for other knockout tournaments because it's kind of nice to be able to say, "Oh, we came 7th," in the world, rather than we got knocked out in the quarters. Like, does it matter?
I mean, it'd be nicer to say we came 5th in the world, but
no, of course. But what I mean is like it gives you something, gives you a position that you reached, like a tangible. You'll be able to say, "I achieved this," rather than I got to the quarters, and it's like, well, how does that rank you against the other quarterfinalists? It's like, well, I don't know, never played them.
No, fair enough. I don't disagree.
And I know it's all light-hearted stuff, and it doesn't actually matter, but I just think it just adds a different, angle to it all. MVP. Yeah.
I know this 'cause it's written down.
Alicia Oro. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know her position?
Setter, I believe.
For Italy, indeed.
Also won best setter, unsurprisingly.
Yeah. That's very well remembered and worth mentioning. She plays most of her, I looked up a little bit about her actually, it's quite interesting. She plays most of her domestic volleyball in Italy, but has been or has recently moved to Fenerbahce in Turkey, who, for those who don't know, Fenerbahce, obviously familiar to football fans by virtue of their football team, who we have seen play in Turkey.
We have seen play,
yeah.
And that was one of the best, in fact, probably the single best football experience of my life. The atmosphere was absolutely mad.
Yeah, it was.
Like, everyone was standing on their seats the entire game, bouncing. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and like doing this weird thing with their scarves, not waving them, like leaning in.
Yeah.
Like sort of in what's the word?
Like time with each other.
In time with each other, exactly, at the same time.
That was the day we watched 2 football matches in 2 different continents on the same day.
It was, yeah, in Europe and Asia.
Basically only doable in Istanbul, yeah.
Just go across
the
Bosphorus and don't talk about the ferry journey.
Yeah.
An inside
we've
joke.
Already tried not to mention that. An inside joke.
Yeah, an inside joke.
That many people at my wedding heard.
Yes.
Because you decided to tell them.
Well, you can share these things amongst friends, but not publicly available podcasts. Fenerbahce, though, back to them. They're a sporting institution, a bit of a powerhouse on the continent. Have basketball teams, volleyball teams, football teams. Like, it's really interesting. So
it's really common in Europe for teams to do that, like Real Madrid and, well, all the major sports teams, really. They have a load of teams in Germany as well. They have multiple sports under the same brand. It's not something we do in the United Kingdom.
No.
Just weirdly, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even... the women's football is just about going that way.
Wasps, rugby and netball we had briefly, but then they went under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point about netball. But yeah, the women's football is slowly sort of joining up, but even that is not entirely joined up. But yes, sorry, Alicia Oro, that's where she's now applying her trade. But she's also won it all with this world title going alongside her European and Olympic titles and her Nations League title. So she's rather good at volleyball.
Yes, I think you might be right there.
Do you know who top scorer was?
I do not, but you can tell me.
Isabella Hack of Sweden. And this is astonishing. She went out in the group stages.
Impressive.
Yes. So she scored 95 points, which was 25 more points than the person in second place. Sweden only scored 254 points. So she scored 37% of all of Sweden points.
I was going to say, is she a superstar on a relatively average team, perhaps?
Yes.
Which isn't actually uncommon in Scandinavian countries. You get that quite a lot.
Oh, that's true.
With Isak and
Ibrahimovic
and Odegaard, Haaland.
Yeah.
Actually, Norway are pretty good right now.
Don't leave the Yock out. Don't leave the Yock out. That's cruel. I know you don't want him to do well, but there's no need for that. So, yes, she is. She is rather good. You're your suspicions are correct. Plays a domestic volleyball in Italy. Has also previously played in Turkey because I think, I don't think Turkey women's volleyball in Turkey is big. And she has won it all domestically. Basically, she just does the rounds, picking up league titles by the looks of things.
Fair enough.
And she is 6'5", so she's formidable at the net.
Jeez, that's taller than me, and I'm very tall.
Yeah,
that's an inch taller than me.
So I mean, we did say at the very beginning of this, it's a big advantage if you're big.
Yeah,
in volleyball,
game for giants.
And I think 95 points in 3 games sort of demonstrates that somewhat. But
fair play.
That's the women's World Championship for those of you who missed it. But very competitive. I think the semi-final between Brazil and Italy went to 5 and was a bit of a humdinger. So
yeah, sorry, I'm going back to Isabella Hack now, but she's been playing for Sweden since she was 15, which is mad.
Half French, and then I can't remember which way round it is, but one of her parents is French, one is Swedish.
Cool.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was just saying that's kind of all I had on the women's World Championships for those interested but who missed it. Get a little taste of what it was all about. What happened? Do you want to talk about the men's one?
I can do, yeah. I was actually going to talk about the governing body, but I feel like that would be us going in a completely wacky order.
Well, why don't we just do the men? Little mention to the men because we don't know much about it. We can just say we can contextualize favourites and all that stuff. And then, the governing body, actually, we overlooked that.
The only reason I wanted to mention the governing body is because it kind of harks back to our last episode, which was on the IAAF, the World Athletics Championships. So the IAAF, as I mentioned, was founded in 1913, and in the mid-1920s, they took responsibility for the rules and the organisation of all hand-related sports. So that's basketball and handball and volleyball. Then the International Amateur Handball Federation was founded in 1928 during the Summer Olympics, where they got all the delegates who were there for the handball together in one room, and they handed responsibility for hand-related sports to the IAHF, who then took it over. And from the IAHF, what is now the International Basketball Federation, what is now called FIBA, because it's French, and I'm not going to bother pronouncing it because my French is terrible, split away from it in 1934, and then finally in 1947, the FIVB split away. And again, this is French, and I apologise in advance. It is the Fédération Internationale de Volleyball, which is the International Volleyball Federation. It was founded in Paris in 1947, and it was very quickly after that the first World Championships was played. It was 1949. It was meant to be between 12 nations, the first tournament, but Uruguay and Yugoslavia dropped out, leaving 10 countries. First tournament was won, unsurprisingly at the time, by the Soviet Union. They beat Czechoslovakia in the decisive final group stage match, because it wasn't a final, similar to the Men's World Cup actually at the time, the Football World Cup at the time. Didn't have a proper final. But anyway, they won the decisive match 3-1 against Czechoslovakia, and it was held again 3 years later in Moscow. And unsurprisingly, being the host nation and being the Soviet Union at the time, they won again. But that tournament was also notable because that was the first women's tournament as well. So it was very quick, actually, that the women's tournament, it is actually a sport kind of similar to tennis, I guess, because of the popularity and because of its popularity in America with the college system and everything, that straight away it was a sport that was pretty balanced between men and women. And the women's tournament has always been played, with one slight exception, in the same year as the men's tournament. The men's tournament, and so both tournaments were played every 4 years, pretty much. They eventually settled in 1962, 66, and so on, basically matching the Football World Cup years, for those who know them. But this year's tournament, obviously 2025, was 3 years since the last tournament, which was 2022, and it will now be held every 2 years in odd-numbered years. So it's going to be every other year now.
Oh, nice.
There we are.
Is that because they got rid of... Yeah. They used to have a World Cup as well, didn't they? And now they also have the Nations League. And,
yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the precise reason for the restructuring of the calendar, but that does make sense.
Doesn't matter. More sport is always good.
More sport is good. No, that is very interesting.
But yeah, so the men's competition this year is being held in the Philippines, in 2 cities in the Philippines, the city of Pasai and the city of Quezon, or Quezon City, I should say. As of recording on Friday night, there has been one match played, just the opening match of the tournament, with the host nation, the Philippines, sadly losing against Tunisia in straight sets.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's it so far.
The Philippines are seeded as hosts, as discussed. They're on debut because they've never qualified before. They are ranked 61 in the world, so they would get nowhere near this tournament if they weren't the hosts.
Hopefully this will inspire a generation, and one day in the future they'll be ranked higher than that because of it.
And then they'll have a sudden swell of people being born who are like 7 foot tall. Colombia, also on debut in this tournament.
Nice.
Do you know who goes into it favourites? Do you know the rankings?
Well, Italy are the holders, so I'm going to guess Italy, but you're going to correct me, are you?
Yeah, then they are the holders. You're right about that. I don't need to correct that. They're not ranked 1, though. They are ranked high. They're ranked 5th?
Nice.
In the world. Poland are ranked 1.
Oh, cool.
Followed by the French, followed by the Americans, followed by the Slovenians.
Nice.
And then you
That's
have
impressive. Very small country.
Yeah, and then you have Italy, Japan, and Brazil rounding off sort of your top 6 or 7. Italy have the most titles, like you said earlier. They have 4.
Yeah.
Apart from the Soviet Union.
Well,
who have 6.
I was going to say apart from the Soviets, yeah.
But I don't know. Now that we know what we know, I reckon human
not
growth.
Since the 1980s, though.
Yeah.
The Soviet Union been disappointing since the 1980s. Don't know why.
Yeah,
Seems to have faded away.
Yeah. No jurisdictional territory and no human growth hormones being injected into children anymore. So that's probably got something to do with
Controversial. Russia did finish runners-up in 2002, but that's their only final since the Soviet Union split.
Yes. Others to have won it. Brazil and Poland have 3. So Poland are not a flash in the pan with their number 1 ranking. As you said earlier, Czechoslovakia have won 2.
2, yeah.
And the only other...
East Germany won 1 as well.
Yeah, East Germany, which I think we can put in the category of Soviet Union. And the Americans have picked one up as well.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, well, it was unsurprising.
Probably have more than 1.
The American women and men have both got only 1 title each, which that did surprise me, given what we have discussed.
It surprised me far more for the women than for the men, because it is a hugely popular women's sport in college athletics. Obviously, tall men in college sport probably will be pulled away by basketball more often than not.
That's a good point.
So you're working with a smaller pool of tall people compared to the tall people produced by the population, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as a result, obviously, women's basketball is becoming hugely popular as well. So maybe that's a factor as well, with the USA not being quite as successful as expected.
Yeah,
basketball is definitely the first love of the tall people, the tall American.
Yeah, that's true, actually. But that doesn't afflict the talent pools in Europe by the looks of things. Having said that, actually, I'm now going to argue against myself almost immediately before you even get a chance to come in and say Spain and Greece are not particularly good at volleyball. So that would probably go some way to explaining that, because both are
good at basketball. Yeah,
popular.
Spain
but
especially.
Serbia is probably the exception to that rule.
Serbia are good at both, aren't they? But
that's what I mean.
But yeah, mainly on the talents of individuals, probably in the basketball. But anyway, Cuba as well. I mentioned Cuba in the last episode. Have been runners-up in the men's competition a couple of times as well. Never quite won it.
Yeah, so have
third as well.
Romania, Bulgaria, Netherlands, and the former Yugoslavia all made finals and lost. Netherlands are tall people. That doesn't surprise me, actually.
Yeah, they are. They're the tallest in Europe, aren't they?
Mm.
Maybe even maybe not tallest in the world, but certainly tallest in Europe.
Yeah.
Famously, among other attributes.
Maybe they should put more attention into... they seem to be good at sports you just don't expect them to be good at, Netherlands. Like speed skating. Like, why are you good at speed skating?
There's no logical reason they should be. But why are we good at track cycling? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. But speed skating is a winter sport.
Because someone was good at it, and I know. But I don't know anything about speed skating. But I bet if you look back to the 1980s or 70s, there was just a shit hot,
just a Dutch geezer that went to Canada or something and got gun at speed skating, brought it home.
Probably.
You're probably right, actually. But yeah, they're also good at rowing. It's quite a flat country, I guess. Good at cycling.
Yeah.
Good at football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Historically.
How have we got onto the Dutch? They're nice people, the Dutch,
I don't know.
though.
Yeah, I like Holland.
Yeah,
The
pay
Netherlands,
homage.
I
Pay
should say.
homage.
Never had a bad visit there.
No, that's true, actually, and we've been a few times.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. There's another story there that I could tell, but I won't, because it involves
Probably best not to.
international drug smuggling.
Another one that you told at my wedding. Thank you. In front of my grandparents.
Yeah, well, got to kick you in the right places.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else to say about volleyball? I mean, have we exhausted what we can?
No, I mean, I should throw a bone to. Did we mention who was good in the women's? Who'd won golds in the womenens?
Yeah.
I just feel like
who are the most successful.
I feel like I need to mention Cuba again. Yeah, they won 3 golds in that. But anyway,
They won 3. Have they won 3 World Cups or 3 World Championships? Because they're 2 different tournaments.
World Championships.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, Cuba.
94, 78, 94, and 98.
Ah,
There's a real problem in Cuba. This stretches across all sports of whenever their teams go and play away particularly in the United States, but in other countries, of people defecting. It's a real problem.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it certainly was at the height of certain crises.
Yeah, Castro being in charge. Yeah. Yes, and in the 60s particularly. Yeah, there's a big diaspora in the United States, particularly in Florida. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke about them, didn't we? About how they were ranked so highly in the medal table for athletics. So, they've got their sports, they like them, they commit to them, and they're pretty good at them when they put their mind to it.
Yeah, they're extremely good at a lot of sports. They certainly punch above their weight in a lot of sports. Baseball, as I mentioned, and boxing, and so on and so forth. Obviously, volleyball as well.
Access, opportunity, facilities, commitment.
It was a big part of the culture being pushed by Mr. Castro back in the day. Say what you will about him, but it's always a popular way.
Good and bad things come out of everything.
Popular way to improve your country's image abroad.
Yeah.
Is being good at sports.
Sports washing. Never heard of that. That's not a modern day problem, is it? In the Middle East or anywhere else?
No. Gone away nowadays, Ben.
Yeah. Russians famously didn't sports wash and host loads of events and then dope their way through them. So let's not go down that rabbit hole again.
We will go down that rabbit hole again, just not today.
Just not today. Not today.
Just not today.
Breaking into song.
It's from Heathers. Why have I just sung a line from Heathers? The musical.
I feel like given the fact that we're descending into musical flair, we should probably pack it up, shouldn't we?
Yeah, before I've just revealed to everyone my dual loves in life of sport and musical theatre. I'm comfortable with who I am, Ben.
You are very comfortable with who you are, to be fair. To your credit. Yeah, okay. Where are we going next week then?
Yeah, where are we going next week? We're going to the top 5 favourite tournaments in world sport, I would say. One of them. Is that fair to say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, are we even talking about the same thing? Depends on when this episode comes out, because we're squeezing this in, actually. Because we've already said that we're doing Aussie rules.
I forgot, yes. Okay, so we're in a complicated situation now, guys.
Yeah.
We're recording this and we're squeezing it in before. So technically the next episode is Aussie rules. I was thinking of next weekend where we're talking about the Ryder Cup.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
The next 2 episodes will be Aussie rules coming out on Tuesday, and then the Ryder Cup coming out a week on Tuesday. Hoping to get this episode out, although you won't be listening to this until it's out, so I don't know why I'm telling you when it's going to come out. But over the weekend.
Yes.
Ben, I'm going to get this episode out over the weekend. I'm telling you that.
That makes sense. Aussie rules followed by the Ryder Cup, a rare 2-episode week.
Indeed. And I might even bang together some compilation episodes soon as well, so might even be more coming your way.
Nice. Well, that all sounds very fun. Well, looking forward to discussing Aussie rules with you, and then we're going to tuck in to golf, but in a team.
Indeed.
Which would be
unreal. We'll be treading a fine line the next 2 episodes between being entertaining and not pissing off Australians and Americans, because the banter runs strong between the English particularly and Australians, and obviously Europeans and Americans when it comes to certain competitions. So we'll tread lightly, but I'm looking forward to these 2 episodes.
Yeah, they will be really good fun. All right, mate. Well, speak to you very shortly then.
Speak to you imminently.
Yeah.
And sleep well tonight. Rest up. Recording again tomorrow.
Yeah. See you in a bit then, mate.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in today. Apologies for this one being later than scheduled. If you did happen to enjoy it though, or if you just want to help some humble podcasters out, then please drop a like, click subscribe, or leave a rating. This will definitely help, but as ever, the best thing possible is to tell your friends about us. Whether they like a particular sport or not, there's a place for everyone on the Almanac. Our theme tune is Oh Yeah by Harmonia Productions. You can find us on Instagram and Blue Sky at The Sporting Almanac, or drop us an email about absolutely anything at thesportingalmanacpodcast@gmail.com. Next up, as mentioned, it's actually Aussie rules this time, and in the meantime, serve, pass, set, spike, defend, rotate, repeat, and always remember sport is nothing without the history that makes it. Goodbye.